Hi, Catherine.
Hi Nizam, how are you going?
I'm going good. And how have you been?
Yeah, really well, thank you. Really busy.
Okay. Thank you very much for accepting for this interview.
No.
And okay, so friends, let me introduce you to Catherine Rose, and let me give you a short description. And of course, we'll know more about her journey in the later part of this session. So, Catherine Rose is a highly experienced EFT tapping and matrix reimprinting practitioner who has helped hundreds of people burst through their emotional blocks to success and fulfillment. She is deeply passionate about teaching others the missing key to manifestation and how unlocking our full potential literally lies at our fingertips. So you can follow her work on Facebook, like by just typing "break free with EFT," and her website is also breakfreewitheft.com. And let's hear more about Catherine from her own words. So, Catherine, please tell me, how did you get into EFT?
So I came across EFT many years ago, but I've had my business now as a practitioner for the past 10 years. And I discovered EFT because as a teenager, I went through quite a lot of different issues and quite a lot of different therapies as well, trying to unpack my feelings and what I was going through. So all those modalities that I used had their place, but I just felt like something wasn't unlocking it at the core. And so my mum is an amazing researcher, and she actually did a course in TFT, which is a precursor to EFT. So EFT was developed from TFT, which is thought field therapy. And my mum was a practitioner in that, did a course, and then heard about EFT and thought, hey, maybe this might be helpful for my daughter. So I went to see a practitioner, and I was able to really work through a lot of things at a deeper level that I hadn't been able to access before. So it was really it was interesting for me to have that experience, because I thought, wow, this is some really valuable stuff and a very valuable modality. So I left it alone for a while, and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. So I didn't sort of think about being a practitioner in that space at that time, but I think the rite of passage as you leave school is to go and try out all the different jobs, and I burned through quite a lot of positions trying to find what I really wanted to do. And what I noticed was that I was really good at sales. I loved sales because I loved finding out what people needed and how to give that to them. So I ended up in recruitment, and I was a business development manager. So I moved over to Melbourne. I used to live in Adelaide. I'm from Melbourne originally, but I lived in Adelaide for 10 years, moved over here for a recruitment position, and then after 4 months got made redundant. So that was the universe's way of telling me, I think, that, it's time to do something that is really important to you and that you really want to do. So that's when I thought, okay, how can I help people in a really heart-centered way? And I started off with coaching. So I did some life coaching, and I thought, this is really good. I like, the aspect of helping people and having people open up to me. But once again, I felt like I just needed something else. And that's when I thought, oh, that's right. I've got that EFT thing I did way back then. And I went and got qualified in it. And the rest is history. So that's what I have been doing. And it's now my full-time job around my two children and my partner. And yeah, it's just the best thing ever to be able to help people from a heart-centered space with a modality that is just gaining so much momentum and credibility out there these days too.
Excellent, excellent. And Catherine, let's talk about law of attraction.
Mm.
There are a lot of misconceptions about law of attraction. Just you close your eyes and there it is. Just I get what I want and all that. So could you please tell that? Does
Yeah.
this law of attraction really work? Some of your personal experiences.
Sure. Well, first of all, you don't get what you want, you get what you are. So that's the first thing to remember in the law of attraction. And I remember first coming across the law of attraction through the movie The Secret, like a lot of people. And I think that's a really valuable movie. I loved it. It really sort of sparked interest in a lot of people to start creating their own reality. However, I think that there was a really crucial missing link in there that they forgot to say, and that was about clearing resistance to enabling these things to actually make their way to us, because we can sit there and wish for things, or we can sit there and put ourselves in the sports car and imagine, what it feels like to drive it and how we're going to feel. But if we have limiting belief systems, or we have negative underlying emotions and patterns and behaviors and things like that that are going to sabotage us being able to achieve those goals, and that is what will win every time unless we do the work. And so that's where the EFT and the matrix reimprinting comes in, because I'm teaching people how to use that to their advantage so that they can get what they want because they're more aligned with it. So law of attraction is all about like attracting like. And I like to use the example of you being on trying to listen to a radio station, and you're on the different radio station. You want to listen to, I don't know what they have over there, but over here it might be Nova FM, and we're stuck on the ABC channel, and we're thinking, we want to listen to this, that, and the other music, but we can't actually access that frequency because we're on a different frequency. So it's about attuning our frequency to match that of what we want. And EFT tapping is a fantastic way to actually, raise your vibration and get yourself out of that state of lack, of fear, all that kind of poverty mentality that we can tend to be conditioned with these days as well, and bridge that gap between where we are and where we want to be. So then we are better able to attract these things into our experience.
Excellent. So, Catherine, tell me this weird combination of EFT, law of attraction, and business coaching. How did it fall into place? How did you come up with all this stuff? So, what is
Yeah.
this combination?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a unique one because I think a lot of people who are in the manifestation space or coaching in the manifestation space, you've got to have tools, and you can have all the to-do lists, all the action plans, all the thought processes, etc. in the world. However, once again, if you've got all the negative limiting belief systems underneath, that's not going to present the results that you desire. So I started off in working with anxiety a lot and trauma. And I think that, over time, my niche just naturally changed. And I realized that, I don't have necessarily a major story, about something massive I've overcome. And I spent so much time thinking about that, because a lot of coaches, a lot of practitioners have their sort of big, what we can call a sob story type thing. And I was like, oh, I don't have one of those. But what I realized now was that I was creating my own story along the way, and it didn't have to be one of struggle that I had overcome. My story of struggle was around lack and self-worth. And so when I actually worked on those things, I noticed that what I started attracting into my life and how my business was reflecting as a result of the work I was doing was actually the whole point. And I was like, wow, everything fell into place for me, because I decided that actually this is what I really want to focus on. Because when I got a taste of what I was able to actually change in my life and attract into my life, it becomes quite addictive. And when we realize that it's easy to get into this space, and when we do the work to be able to get into that energetic space, it's just amazing to be in that flow. So I naturally started attracting more and more clients to me who were looking for ways to raise their vibration, to meet their goals. And I started incorporating a lot of the manifestation stuff, the law of attraction, with the EFT. So for instance, if somebody comes to me in business and they're saying, look, I'm doing everything possible, and this happens all the time. I'm doing everything possible. I've got, all the Facebook ads, I market constantly, I put myself out there, I show up, and I'm just not getting anywhere. Then that tends to be an energetic thing and a mindset issue. So we will look at, the blocks to success, the things that holding us back from taking the actions that will then allow the things to happen for us. Because I think the law of attraction, once again, when we're simplifying it, it's like, oh, you just close your eyes and you wish for it and it happens, but you have to take inspired action. So in this work that I do, we're clearing the blocks and clearing the path so that you can take those actions without, the fear or the poverty consciousness or the lack mentality or the not good enough and imposter syndrome and all those fun things that I think a lot of business owners go through.
Excellent. So that was my next question. You already answered because a lot of people tell that I have tried Facebook ads, YouTube, this,
Mm,
that, and everything, but nothing is happening. So
yeah.
you also spoke about resistance.
Mm.
Could you please tell more about it, Catherine? How does this play a major role, especially in business?
Yes. So we will always have resistance to doing things that create discomfort for us. So, for instance, one of my biggest resistance that I had was transitioning from in person to online consultations. And I thought it was just about the technology and not having somebody in front of me. So I kind of fought that for a long time. But then what I realized it was a resistance to opening myself up to bigger success, because if I went online, that would open up the pool of people that I would be able to attract into my practice. And that was quite scary. So I had that block that I needed to overcome, which I quite clearly have, because that's all I do now is online work. And yeah, one of the biggest blocks that I had towards being more successful in my business was that I noticed was resistance, was overwhelm. So resistance doesn't just show up as an emotion. Resistance comes with, things like procrastination or feeling overwhelmed or avoiding situations, things like that, turning down opportunities. That's how you know that you're in resistance, because you're actually pushing away that which you want to attract. And my biggest block to up leveling my business and to getting more success was a fear of being overwhelmed. How am I going to service everybody? What if I miss a comment or a message, and how am I going to handle it all? So that was, that next step that I had to overcome in my mindset to be able to allow that to happen. And now, yeah, it's not a problem at all. So it's amazing how resistance can show up at every level, even when, we've been in business for a while. When we start to, to shift into that next step, we will come up against our blocks. And a lot of that can be resistance as well.
Excellent, thank you. And Catherine, you have created certain products. So
Mm.
I want to ask, like tapping for teens, and then let's go with the kids part first. So tapping into happy kids, an
Yes.
e-guide for parents. So what inspired you to create that, and could you please tell a bit
Mm.
about it?
So I used to work a lot with adults and kids anxiety, and that was my bigger niche. And I still do that though, and I tap on my kids all the time because they love it too. So I'm really passionate about sharing it with children, and teaching kids to take responsibility for their emotions, to be able to regulate themselves, and to have something literally at their fingertips that they can use to move through those big feelings that they have as well. So I was inspired by my own daughter at that time, and I wrote that a few years ago when I think I was expecting my second. And so I wrote it for parents so that they had a comprehensive guide as to how to use it for children, how to use it for children of all ages as well, because there are different applications, because EFT is just such a fluid modality that you can't really stuff it up, which is the great thing. So you can't do it wrong. There are just different ways that you can do it. So we take you through 12 different applications of EFT, including with babies as well. So surrogate EFT, how to use yourself as a surrogate for another person, tapping for toddlers, bedwetting, ASD as well. So, autism spectrum disorders, things like that, and how to help them to manage those big feelings that they have. Bullying, confidence, lots of different things too. So yeah, and it's got a bit of my own experience in there as well. So that's just the sort of basic guide, and that one's $9.95 AUD. And then I have the Tapping for Teens journal. So that's got a series of exercises on different things that that a lot of teens go through, with some journaling as well, some space for journaling. And yeah, and that one is, I can't remember what it is now because I haven't, but it's on my website how much it is. And yeah, so that's sort of like how I look after my parent clients who are looking to use EFT with their children as well, and pass that beautiful healing on.
Yes, and you have created one specific program for health practitioners. So
Yes.
what is this about? Like, is it health practitioner in the sense for doctors, psychologists, or like who are the specific audience for this?
Yeah. So most of my clients are natural health practitioners, so naturopaths, herbalists, things like that. But this
Okay.
is just a course for anybody in that kind of a space who is looking for something that they can add into their practice just to help as an intervention with their clients. So a lot of my clients go through clinic times where they have clients come to them and they might have an emotional breakdown in the middle of a session and they don't know how to handle it because they're trained in, like nutrition, or they're trained in naturopathy. So they're not sure how to handle this emotional side of stuff as well. So this is a great way to be able to have something that you can use to help your clients to support their emotional health as well. So it's not a certification in EFT, it's a training in how to use it in practice within scope as well. So of course, we're not going to say, hey, go and use it for your clients' deepest, darkest traumas. It's more so as an intervention in the moment, how you can support their emotional health as well.
Excellent. And could you please tell more about if someone wants to get mentored, especially from business perspective? There could be a person could be a life coach, person could be a practitioner. It could be any sort of business, but again, it comes with the resistance and then this imposter syndrome, etc., etc. So, what kind of how is your EFT business and law of attraction based coaching unique, and what kind of services you offer?
Yeah, so I work in 1 month or 3 month packages with my clients to take them on a journey, because when you think about, oh, I want to fix this area of my life, when you start opening yourself up to this kind of modality, you realize just how many layers there are to the issues that we experience. So I like to be able to nurture my clients through that healing journey. So that's why I developed the 1 month and the 3 month coaching packages. So I use EFT, but I also use the matrix re-imprinting, which is the deeper part of EFT. And that's going back and actually looking at where past traumas may have contributed to our belief systems, the things that, are triggering us today. And we go back and we literally create a more positive, resourceful picture. So because our brains think in pictures and feelings, and we remember things in pictures and feelings, if we change the picture and we change the energy around the picture, because we're tapping down the intensity of the emotion on that younger version of ourselves at the time, then we actually change what our brain perceives to be the truth. So instead of living from those limiting beliefs that we developed at the time, we're actually living from the more resourceful learnings that we've gained from those experiences. So it gives us more perspective, clarity, objectivity, so that we can literally close the chapter on that book and move forward as well.
Awesome. And Catherine, could you please share some of your personal success stories where you have used these tools, and just curious to know some of your stories.
Yeah. Well, there are so many that like big and little that come into play. But some of my favorites are, clients who have started working with me on manifesting unexpected income, and all of a sudden have found found themselves in a possession of money. And one funny story was a client contacted me going, "Oh my God, you won't believe this. We were tapping on finding unexpected money," and so she she then sent me a message saying that she'd filled out a survey, and and the person had actually chosen her as the winner of this survey, and she got $1,200.
Wow.
So that was quite unexpected, and quite a lot for doing a survey as well. So she was absolutely thrilled, because she had previously never won anything in her life as well. So it was definitely one out of the box for her. And other clients have found money in drawers. I know that when you're trying to manifest something specific, being specific is so important as well, because I have actually done it to myself before, going, I want more money. And sometimes the universe has a bit of a sense of humor. And one day I looked down at my feet after saying that out loud, and there was 5 cents on the ground.
Oh.
And so I was like, well, there you go. That's a good lesson in being very specific about how much money you want, because that was more money, wasn't it? But a more successful story around money, though, is actually one that really blows my mind, because I did an exercise that I read in a book, which was to write down a goal that you have, and then you just leave it alone. So you put the energy into that goal, and I wrote down, my desire is to attract $15,000 in a way that brings me joy and feels good. And I remember just writing it on a blank page, shoving it under my bed. And then earlier on this year, I was having a really, really good month. And I thought, hang on, I might want to go and check how much I've made. And it turns out that I had raked in $15,000 worth of business that month. And that was the exact figure that I had actually written down the month before. So that was quite significant to me. And it was a really great, validation of the fact that it can be easy. It doesn't need to be so hard. We just put so many blocks in the way, and those blocks are usually emotional ones. So when you clear it out, then you allow these things to make their way to you, because there's plenty of money out there, and there's no reason why we can't be the ones who attract it.
And Catherine, if you have to give a message to coaches, therapists, or any business people who want to, scale up
Yeah.
from where they are to where they want to move, what would be your message?
I would say think about the downsides of success, which sounds like a very strange thing, a piece of advice to say, but it is really, really important, because we all think of success as something that is up there, and we don't even know what success really is. It's just like a term that we throw around that we think that we want to achieve. But we've never really considered all the downsides that come with success. And when we do that, we identify the things that are actually blocking us from achieving what success looks like to us. So, for instance, what I said before, it was not a fear of failure that I had to scale my business. It was actually a fear of success and what that meant. Because it was, oh my God, I'm going to be overwhelmed. I'll have less time with my family. I'll have more responsibility. There's like a massive list of all the downsides of success. So I would consider, thinking about a goal, think about what the downsides are of those goals, and then use that in your tapping and to work on, because then you're not going to have a fear of success anymore. You're allowing it to become your reality.
Thank you. That was amazing message. And Catherine, why does someone need a coach? I know this, I know that, I know law of attraction, I tried marketing and this. Again, why do I need coach? If I hire a coach, what difference it makes? And people have different questions, of course. Unless they come and try a coach, they don't know. But could you please tell what is your answer for that?
Absolutely. I mean, look, hairdressers don't cut their own hair usually,
Yes.
right?
That's a beautiful example.
But even myself, I have blind spots, right? So if I have something that's really deep that I know I'm really good at blocking myself from healing from, I will go to another practitioner. And I think the thing is that we need to accept that we're all human and we all have emotions. We're all allowed to feel the full spectrum of emotions. It's just our ability to move through them that really counts. And so I think that when we think about, when we have money, we won't have all these issues, but money just makes us more of who we are, and it shows us what we need to work on as well, block wise. So I have clients who are literally just at the beginning of their business and have no income whatsoever, but need that direction, because having someone else's eyes on your stuff really can help you see, those blind spots that we're not always able to ourselves. And right up to the level of having a client who is on $900,000 a month that she is making. And that was one of her biggest months, that she made 900 grand. And I've been seeing her for the past year. So she, you'd think, oh, well, wow, she mustn't have any money blocks. She mustn't have anything wrong. How could she, need a coach? And she's a coach herself. But the thing is, once again, it's somebody else's perspective, and she still has her stuff as well. She still has her blocks, because when we have more money, we don't have an absence of problems. We just have higher quality ones. So her high quality problem was, I want to crack $1 million. And so that's a goal to work through. And those blocks that, come up at each time when we're scaling, it doesn't matter how much money we're making. It's all about, oh, hang on, that's another level. And we have to address the things that are underneath as well. So it doesn't matter who you are, how much money you're earning, we can all benefit from having someone else guide us through.
Excellent. So coaches also have coaches.
That's right.
And Catherine, could you please share about some of the books that made a difference in your life?
Yeah. Well, the Tapping Solution by Nick Ortner is always my go-to in relation to tapping. I love that book. And I've also been reading a lot of Gabrielle Bernstein stuff, which is wonderful. So her book Super Attractor is all about manifestation and things like that, which is wonderful. And the other book I've been reading is Get Rich Lucky Bitch. So that's by Denise Duffield Thomas, and it's a lovely law of attraction mindset book as well. So yeah, just being able to sort of absorb all these different things from different people, and just apply it to my own life and to help other people as well.
Okay, thank you. So, Catherine, see, your mom, your wife, you're a coach, you have your own, personal business and all that. And like I often listen that I don't have time to read books. So, what is your advice on reading books, importance of reading books?
Yeah. Okay, so up until this year, I hadn't read a book in probably 10 years. Yeah, so I'm with you there. But I think that it's funny because we think about, I had a block to reading books because I was like, oh, that feels a bit lazy, and I didn't have time in the afternoon. I didn't have time in the evening because I just wanted to sit down and relax and switch off at night. I didn't want to sit there reading because then I'd be buzzing all night. But I just make time to read, even if it's a few pages. Wherever I have space. So in the day, if I don't have a client for say 2 hours, I will spend that time or some of that time trying to read. So it's not always. I think I've got comfortable with reading bits and pieces as opposed to sitting down and going through the whole thing in one hit. But it's always such a great feeling when I do, because I know that I get so much from it. And every time I read, I'm like, oh yes, this is why I really should make time for this, because I've just learned something new. And I think that it's a matter of sometimes making time as well. And yeah, we can get so creative with procrastinating. And so making sure that we're doing things for our highest good, and the fact that if we're going to read something that's of value, we're going to come away with a different mind frame and some more ideas and things. So it's a really valuable tool that I've learned how to incorporate into my day. So if I can do it, anyone else can.
Excellent. So, Catherine, of late, I had a very different experience with business coaches. Any
Mm.
random guy pings over Facebook Messenger, "Hey, Nizam, you wanna earn $10,000, $20,000, $30,000? Just join our program. You want 100 clients per week? I can do that," and all that stuff and all that things. They make you show the dreams and all that, and then so much overwhelming. So how do we choose a coach, especially a business coach? Like I have been following you over Facebook, and it really, I love it. There's no you never posted something like a lot of like sales, all this stuff, and people relate to your stories. There is there's a lot of connectivity. So how does one chooses a coach when there is so much of information overwhelming?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think that the biggest thing that makes a difference is the resonance with the person. So you have to resonate with them. And I think that, somebody might have an amazing hit rate of getting, like 100 clients every month for 10,000 people, but they may not be the right fit for you, because if you don't feel connected to them and you don't feel like you can take in their message, or that they don't understand you, then you're not going to be at that same level vibrationally, or take the actions necessarily that they're wanting you to take. So I think the connection is very, very important. And as you said, I never really advertise myself anymore. And that's something that's been a massive learning for me. And the less I've been salesy, the more successful I've been, because it's all about connecting with people and sharing your story, as you said, because people buy from people. And so, they have to know, like, and trust you first of all. So if you know, like, and trust someone, that's a pretty good start.
So,
Mhm.
and one more question. We have spoken about EFT with regards to law of attraction, with regards to business, this. Let's talk a bit about EFT as a self-help tool, the relationship with ourselves. So, how did your life change once you expose to EFT at different levels, because you are a coach and how like you have to give some time to your family and all that. So that overwhelming stress and all that. So at personal level, could you please share about EFT
Yeah.
helping?
So it's all very well and good to help other people, but we have to first help ourselves as well. And
Yes,
I
exactly.
think I learnt that the hard way because I'm a massive person for helping other people. But then I hit a point where I was like, I better do some work on myself because I was feeling that resistance and burnout as well. So it's having a personal peace procedure. It's literally thinking about the biggest things in your life that you'd like to change and just gently chipping away at them. So I've not put pressure on myself to be a perfect practitioner because there is no such thing. We all have, stuff going on, as I said, at every level, and not just in business, in life as well. And when I became a mum, so much stuff got brought up for me as well. So that was interesting to be able to work through and manage myself too. So I use it for so many different areas, whether it's with my kids at night. My youngest, who is 2.5, she won't let me leave the room without tapping on her. So there's always opportunities to tap. And I think the best part also about being a practitioner is that we get to borrow benefits from our clients. So a lot of the time when I would attract clients who are going through something similar to me, it would be really healing because I'm tapping on myself while they're tapping on them. But just because my issue might have tiny parallels to theirs, I'm getting benefit at the same time. So it's a good way to be able to clear your stuff at the same time as clearing other people's as well. So that's also how I benefit from the tapping when I don't have time.
Excellent, excellent. So, Catherine, a little. Uh, this question is related to emotions, business, and personal level.
Mm.
Obviously, like fear of failure, fear of success. There's also fear of criticism, fear of
Mm.
being judged, especially in the business. Like, what if I'm, criticized and judged? At personal level, how did it help, and what is your advice with respect to EFT?
Yeah. Well, what you put out is what you're going to get. So if you're putting out the energy, if you're posting with the energy of, oh, someone's not going to like this, or I'm going to be judged, that energy comes across as well. So I had that in practice and I did that for a long time. So when I first started, because my self-worth was really quite low and I felt the need to, compete with other people or feel like, I had to prove my worthiness of doing what I do. So everything I posted just sort of had that energy. And when I look back at those posts, I'm like, oh, I can see that energy in that post. And when I would post on, say, buy, swap, sell groups, which are really, really bad breeding grounds for trolls. I don't post on buy, swap, sell groups, are like community ones. And I would think that I would, be trying to qualify myself as an EFT practitioner by posting all the clinical stuff and what have you. And because I was coming from that need to prove myself, all I would attract was criticism. I would attract trolls within minutes of me hitting post because I was
Oh my
expecting
God.
it. Yeah. And it was like, oh my God, why do I have to sit here and prove myself? But I'd created it. And so, that's just definitely something that I noticed I had to work on. And when I did actually clear the self-worth issues and that need to prove, I've not received one troll since, and that was years ago. So that's
Okay.
yeah, when you get really, really the thing is that people don't buy because they don't believe in you. People don't buy because you don't believe in you. And if you are, once again, like fearing people criticizing you, then you're going to hold yourself back from attracting the people who need to see you and need you right now. So, there may always be, a fly in the ointment, but you can't please 100% of people 100% of the time. And it's being okay with that as well. And, when we start getting more success, those things they don't land as heavy as they do before, because we know that we have this many positive things to counteract this little person's, insignificant comment. So it's easy to deal with. And I think that, when we start working on this level energetically, we start realizing that things are different. It's not so personal. So we can still get upset and frustrated, but it doesn't have the same effect. So we're able to let things go a lot more. And the more we let go, the less we attract people who are going to reflect our limiting beliefs back to us too.
Wonderful. People don't buy because you don't believe in yourself. That was amazing quote, which I need to remind myself of. But yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot, Catherine. You have been, wholeheartedly sharing all this stuff, and I really enjoyed, interviewing you. And I hope, friends, you also enjoyed and you got lot. And this interview will be available over YouTube, and in the description, I'll put website of Catherine. If anyone wants to reach out to Catherine, you can visit through that. All the details, whatever the required details are there, I will be putting that in the description part. So thank you very much, Catherine. Thanks a
Thank you for
lot.
having me. Thanks everyone for listening.